Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my MMA Q A for April 2015. I'd like to give some shout-outs. Carnius797, Malta Travel, Michael J, Lord Sirius, Cerizo, Yambao, Blackett123, Kari Jensen, Dynamic Sphinx, Fiddler99, Christopher Bryan, Brandon K, Samuel Machado, Mikey G, M Lopez 87, Vega Tech, Perfect Machine, Zane Griffin, Marky Mark, Frida McGee, Leandro Silva, John Doe, Philip Frank, 69 Gangstar 69, Nab Geb, Philip Elder, Lully Rom, SJ 408 Silent, and Vladimir Kramarenko. I'd like to give all you guys shout outs. For the most part, these are guys that don't just watch or subscribe to the channel, but also comment on the channel pretty regularly, at least somewhat regularly. So thanks for commenting and whatnot. Always a pleasure. Let's get started. So I got 3 questions that are MMA related. One of them is actually not really MMA related. So now let's get started. Lord Sirius asks, how do you think Pena would do against Rousey, or rather what problems, if any, could she pose? Honest truth, I don't think Pena poses any challenges or problems for Ronda Rousey. The Milana Dudova fight kind of showed. She got judo tossed. Pena got judo tossed by Milana Dudova, who's a good judo practitioner in her own right. Dudova is. But Ronda Rousey, obviously Olympic level judo practitioner. One of the problems with Pena right now, and even in the future, one of her problems is that her goal is to reach the clinch, more or less. It's one of the problems too is that with her striking, it's she just bull rushes into the clinch. So she just throws haymakers as she runs at her opponent to try and initiate the clinch. The problem with the clinch is that is Ronda Rousey's wheelhouse. It's where she wants to be. Pena's strength more or less is in her grappling. The problem is Ronda Rousey's infinitely better there, and I think she will always be better than Pena there. I think she's a better scrambler, and a lot of people don't give Rousey enough credit for her transitional game. She is so good at those transitional phases in grappling. Striking wise, I don't see it with Pena. During that layoff, it doesn't look like she improved upon her striking. So yeah, I don't think she poses any real threat to Rousey now, and quite honestly, in the future as well. I don't think she really poses any type of threat to Ronda Rousey. I don't see it. Stylistically, I don't see what she has. You can say, oh yeah, if she improves her striking, maybe. I don't see it though. Like I said, she had a long layoff, and she still bull rushes in the clinch, which is sad. Here's the thing with Ronda Rousey though, and the women's bantamweight division. I don't think anyone beats Ronda Rousey anyways. I don't think many fighters on the horizon provide any real threat to Ronda Rousey. The sad thing is, Julianna Pena is one of the better women's bantamweight prospects out there. So it doesn't bode well for her, Julianna Pena. You know, it's just because as long as Rousey's there, she's going to rule. She's just so far ahead of everyone else. And it's not like women's strawweight, you know, where like everyone's getting better at this, this technical level that's really quick, even though a lot of fighters don't have a lot of fights. You know, it's like striking overall in women's bantamweight isn't that strong. And maybe that's where you got Rousey at. Otherwise, Pena's just honestly not the one to really do anything to Ronda Rousey, in my opinion. Next question after that. I am 945 says and asks, I heard your post-fight for Rockhold versus Machida, and my question is, why do you hate Paige VanZant? I do not hate Paige VanZant. Not at all. I am very critical of her. I am also very critical of her prospects in the division and the amount of hype she's getting. For one thing, obviously I'm going to have to speak some negative about her, but I'll also speak some positive about her as well. One thing is, she's not very technical, and that's fine considering her lack of experience. What does it mean to not be very technical? She uses those really head and arm throws. She got her back taken by Felice Herrig. It's kind of amateur hour to use those type of throws. You can even watch, like, in men's MMA. Blago Ivanov fights Alexander Volkov, tries to go for a head-on-arm throw, exposes his back, he gets his back taken, choked out. It's not the most effective move if you're not cognizant of your back being taken. I mean, Rousey manages to get away with it. The problem with Rousey, though, is that the way she completes those type of throws too, she has a lot of weight on her opponent, so that she can't so easily get her back taken. Of course, she even got her back taken by Liz Carmouche. So it's not ideal for MMA just because you can get your back taken. I don't think her offensive takedown ability is that good. I think she's kind of like a poor women's Claudia Gadelha in a sense, where she'll get like double underhooks or an over-under and just force the takedown. It's not technically sound. Her striking's near non-existent. Very much like Julianna Pena, she bull rushes into the clinch, which works for now. I don't think it'll work. I think there's a level opponent that's not going to work on. And on the ground, her positions just aren't right. She'll have her leg pretty much for the taking for a leg lock. I think I think a Jessica Penne could take advantage of some of the positions that Paige VanZant gets. She kind of has this like kneeling position thing going on where her, like, she'll be in kind of a half guard, but one of her legs is like posted almost like underneath her opponent's armpit. She's gonna get swept or leg locked because of that. The other thing with Paige VanZant is her approach to fighting in the UFC is pretty much the same as it was when she's in regionals. I mean, you can watch her fights before she fought Tesha Torres in Invicta and her fight against Tesha Torres in Invicta. Same approach. Bull rush into the clinch, get her opponent against a cage, work some dirty boxing, get the takedown, ground and pound and whatnot. It's the same approach, except she tightened it up a little more. Reason why I'm not as high on her prospects is simply because also her contemporaries, who are also very young prospects in the women's strawweight, are farther ahead in their technical development. Specifically, like Miska Inoue, she's only like 20, and she's a much better boxer and honestly a better technical grappler than Paige VanZant. Jamie Moyle only has 2 pro MMA bouts. She is extremely well-rounded. And, of course, someone I'm super high on, Alexa Grasso. Her boxing is really good. She has a pop in her strikes. Her grappling isn't too bad. It does need some work, but She is only like 21 herself, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Moyle's like 23, 24, 25 or something like that. They're just much farther ahead in their technical development, so it's kind of like, because the problem with Paige is that she gets treated like this blue chip prospect when in fact, and they're like, oh, she's so young, when in fact there are quite honestly just better prospects in women's strawweight that are actually close to her age. That's not to say I'm not high on her. That's not to say she's not improving. She is clearly improving a lot. But like, even in the UFC, like Angela Hill, she's a bit older for a prospect. She's like 27, 28. Much better strike. She only has like 2 pro MMA bouts, and she is much farther ahead as far as striking goes than Paige VanZant. Tessa Torres is only like mid-20s, at best. I think she beats Paige VanZant again. Rose Namajunas, not very technical. I'm actually curious to see how Paige VanZant and Rose Namajunas goes. The other thing, Paige, that's very interesting is that by beating Felice Herrig, she pretty much beat the gatekeeper to the top 10 of women's strawweight. So, like, who does she get paired up with, and how will she do? If she fights like a Jessica Pena, the problem with her Paige's game is that I can't see it work on a certain level. I can't see her. If she fought Tessa Torres again, I think it'd be just like their first fight. I think she gets outstruck a lot. She's gonna try to bull rush into the clinch and get the takedown. I don't think she'll get it on Tessa Torres. And I think she just gets beaten up at range and blitzed. If she fought like Carla Esparza, she's just going to get taken down. If she fought Claudia Gadelha, she's just going to get out-grappled. If she fought Jessica Pena, who fights like with really good ground skills. So it's like, fights even Aisling Daly. I don't know if she can actually work that style on someone that's so like bullish herself in Aisling Daly. So that's the thing. I'm not as high on her as some are. I understand she's very young. She doesn't have a lot of experience. Now the good stuff with Paige VanZant. 1, she trains in Team Alpha Male. 2, she is constantly improving. She does bull rush into clinch, but her clinch striking has gotten a lot stronger. You can really see it in the Kaylin Curran fight. Gets that clinch, just works the knees and whatnot, and really forces that takedown. And then in the Felice Herrig fight, showed some really good scrambling ability. She always out-hustles and always outworks her opponent and ends up on top. She does have those tools that you can't teach. She has a lot of heart. She has unending cardio, unending pressure, and she's just always on her opponent. She'll outwork her opponent. I worry, though, in a sense, like, when she fought Tessa Torres, it's like she couldn't really get her bull rush into the clinch style to work, and it doesn't seem like she has many ancillary skills to do anything but that. So it's like, if she can't employ her game, I don't know if she has much else. That's the thing. Whereas I do feel some of her contemporaries do have more to offer. If one thing doesn't work, they can approach the fight in different ways. I just don't think Paige VanZant has the technical skill to do that. Like I said, I don't hate her though. I think she's a very good prospect. I'm just very hesitant to consider her like a blue chip prospect, as many others seem to place her at right now. I understand that she's very marketable. She's very young. she has a lot of room for improvement as well. And I can see her plugging those holes slowly. I'm just kind of wondering with like Paige VanZant and even Julianna Pena, it's kind of like, when do you get away from the bull rush to the clinch style of fighting? Where it's just like this sloppy, good run at her opponent, throw haymakers and whatnot, and just bull rush into that clinch. Maybe take hits. Like, when do you get away? When are they going to get away from that? I'm very curious to see when that's going to happen. Like I said, very good prospect, but like her contemporaries are ahead of her. So, like I said, I'm just not super, super high on her like everyone else is. But nonetheless, I still think of her as a good prospect. I do acknowledge and know that she's constantly improving from fight to fight. But I am very curious to see who they match her up with next. Next question, Jack Crack 2 asks, who are some prospects that no one knows about that I should watch out for? Okay, this one's hard because, like, it's a case of, like, I'm going to name some prospects. I'm going to name just divisions that are in the UFC. I'm not going to name fighters that you've never heard of. I'm just going to name fighters that are, like, in the bigger organizations, like Invicta, UFC, Bellator, or World Series of Fighting. I'm not going to name, like, the guys from 1FC or M1 or anything like that. Excuse me. But, and I'll try to name a couple of, like, the true dark horse prospects, but it's kind of hard. So they are probably going to have a good amount of known prospects that I will name. Start with women's strawweight. From Invicta, watch out for Jamie Moyle. Really good, extremely well-rounded. And someone I'm super high on, she's actually pretty popular, but Alexa Grasso. I am super high on Alexa Grasso. Who else is like a true dark horse prospect in the division? In the UFC, I'd watch out for Angela Hill, I know she's in The Ultimate Fighter. She's kind of well known. But I find her as a pretty good prospect. Women's strawweight, though. Another one, Alexandra Albu. She's a good women's strawweight prospect as well. She surprised me in her last fight. Great athlete. It's like, women's strawweight, you're gonna see this a lot. Like, where did Marina Moroz come from? It's like, I saw her fight. She's winning by armbar, sometimes from her back, and I'm like, wow, I don't think she'll do very well. And then she beats Joanne Calderwood, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like, gotta watch out for her now, There's a lot in Invicta, if you don't know Stephanie Egging, she's really good. And they find these prospects you never heard of, too. Like they'll just find them out of nowhere, too. Women's bantamweight, there's only two I can really name to watch out for. They're both in Invicta. Irene Aldana, she's kind of well known, though. But the other one is Kelly McGill. She's only like 20, 21 years old. She's not the most technically sound at this point, but she only has like 2 pro MMA bouts. The thing I like about Miguel, she's actually a good athlete. Not particularly technical anywhere, but she definitely has a lot of potential. I think she injured her knee, though. She's not fighting anytime soon. It's really unfortunate. I think she's actually one of the better... Kelly McGill's one of the better women's bantamweight prospects that you probably never heard of. Flyweight, this one was hard to call because there wasn't any, like, really unknown prospect here. So I'm going to say like Ray Borg and Justin Scoggins. They're both pretty well known, though. So Justin Scoggins is, I think, on a losing streak right now, but he's still young and improving. Trains out of ATT. Ray Borg, future title contender. This guy's awesome. He's kind of well known, though. Bantamweight. These guys are kind of well known, though. Pedro Munoz. Watch out for him. Trains out of Kings, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. And what they do in Kings is, and Cordero does, is turn jiu-jitsu guys into, like, great strikers. Think, like, Verdum or Dos Anjos. Benio Dariush is turning into that, too. Thomas Almeida, but he's getting a main card slot in the next pay-per-view, so people know him. Rob Font, knocked out his last opponent. He got an injury, though. Rob Font, look out for him. And Team Alpha Male's Cody Garbrandt just knocked out Marcus Brimage. He is someone to keep an eye out for. In Bellator, I would say, there's like Dantas, who's pretty well known, but as far as like not so well known, he did fight Joe Warren though for the title, but Rafael Silva is someone that I'd still keep an eye out for. Featherweight's got a good amount of just like unknown prospects. Some of the more well known ones, Marcel Baktik. If you don't know him, get to know him. Duhu Choi knocked out Juan Manuel Puig in his last fight. Get to know him. Really pretty under the radar prospects here, though. Renato Moicano. This guy, Brazilian fighter, strong Brazilian skills, super good at taking the back. And in his last fight, I think he fought Tom Nimaki. He showed some really improved striking. Moicano, watch out for him. Probably never heard of him. Really good. Another one, Zubaira Tukugov, trains out of, was it Tiger Muay Thai? I think. With, like, Swick, Ebersol, Roger Huerta. Watch out for him. He's really good. And Bellator, he hasn't hit the main card yet. Julio Cesar Neves, he's only like 20, but he has like 30 fights. He's good. If you haven't heard of Goichi Yamauchi in Bellator, he's pretty well known though. Same with Darren Caldwell, he's pretty well known. Darren Caldwell, super good scrambler, and, high accolades in wrestling and whatnot. World Series of Fighting, watch out for Timur Valiev. He's a good prospect. Just beat Ed West, if I'm not mistaken. And someone that's really coming up in World Series Fighting, Hakeem Dawodu. Really good striker, very good athlete. He's someone to watch out for as well. Lightweight, some of these guys who are kind of pretty well known, but I'll say him anyways. Gilbert Burns, he was supposed to fight Josh Thompson. Paul Felder, who has a really good win over Castillo. I think those two are going to really rise up the ranks really soon. Probably heard of Joseph Duffy because he's the last guy to beat Conor McGregor. A true blue chip prospect though. Guys coming up in lightweight though, Johnny Case, really good. Trains out of Alliance. I watched some stuff. He's only had like 2 fights in the UFC, and when you watch the stuff before the UFC, it didn't look that great. He looks like he just like finally just put it all together now. Another good prospect. He's only fought in like the Fight Pass prelims. Christos Giagas, really good athlete, good wrestler, good grappler. I think he's someone to watch out for. I don't know if you'd really call him a prospect at this point, but Rashid Magomedov, he's really good. Really good striker. Just knocked out Elias Silverio in his last fight. kind of a well-known prospect, Kevin Lee. Watch out for him. Another prospect to look out for that's getting his name up there is Jake Matthews. He is from the Ultimate Fighter Nations. He's only like 19 on the show, and he's only like 20, 21 now. This guy's huge for the weight class, and he just big brothers opponents. I mean, he is just such a physical fighter. He'll take him down, ground and pound guys, and it's just he is just a really physical guy. Alex Cowboy Oliveira. I don't see a super high ceiling for him, but I think he can be just a really fun action fighter for the UFC. He's probably pretty well known. Got some recognition for doing really well against Gilbert Burns until he got armbarred in the third round. Striking's really good. Really strong guy, too. Hard to take down. One guy just recently fought, Stevie Ray. He's a good prospect. I wouldn't really say great prospect. Just beat Marcin Bandel. And Marbek Taisimov didn't look good against Prazeres, but has looked good, and especially in his last fight. Has really good striking. I don't know if he's like a blue chip prospect, but he is a good prospect. And welterweight, watch out for Colby Covington. Trains out of ATT. 2 fights in the UFC so far. Really good wrestling accolades. The UFC also just signed Nicholas Dalby. He's someone that a lot of hardcore fans know about. That's got some hype around him. Kind of well known here, but Leon Edwards. He just got that 8-second knockout over Seth Baczynski. Good takedown defense. Pretty heavy-handed. My only problem with Leon Edwards is he does not punch in combination. He's not much of a volume striker. Otherwise, really accurate striker. Hits pretty hard as well. Albert Einstein Tumanov, he's pretty well known. Just beat Nico Musoke. But this guy's striking. Excuse me again. It's just striking, in my opinion, next level striker. Greatly improving his takedown defense. I see high potential for Albert Tumanov. And I want to say he's only in his early 20s. And in Bellator, he hasn't fought in a while. And I don't know why, but Adam McDonough, he had a really poor showing against Andrei Koreshkov. But he is a very good kickboxer. Beat a very tough out in Nathan Coy in a Bellator tournament. Still mid-20s. I think there's some potential with Adam McDonough. Middleweight, true dark horse prospect, Kyle Magalhaes. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, huge for the weight class, showing some real punching power. Trains out of Dragon Fight and Nova União. I mean, I could say some more well-known ones like Elias Theodoro. Yeah, he's not a bad prospect. And Bellator, Emiliano Sordi, he's a good prospect. Beat Bubba McDaniel in his last fight, guillotined him. You know, he's like primary striker. Middleweights doesn't have. I mean, I can say like Brandon Halsey as well, but middleweight doesn't have too many like blue chip prospects. There are some decent. I can say like Clint Hester or something like that. They're like decent prospects, but not like, you know, not any that are like really stand outish to me. Light heavyweight's even worse though. Only one to look out for, and he's pretty well known too, is Lenton Vasella from Bellator. Strong ground game, good boxer, big for the weight class. Also on the Bellator, Felipe Lins isn't too bad either. And the UFC, oh man, there's just no prospects in the division that are really worth commenting on. I would have said Corey Anderson, but he got knocked out by Jean Vellante. Heck, one of the better prospects in light heavyweight, quite honestly, is Nikita Krylov. And there's that Brazilian Muay Thai striker whose name escapes me that Krylov is fighting, who came out of Tough Brazil 3 or something like that. He's good as one. Jeez, I forgot his name. I should have wrote him down, actually. So, Nikita Krylov's next opponent. I don't know who he is. He's actually someone you might want to watch out for. He's not a bad prospect. And heavyweight, I mean, I could say like Todd Duffy, but people know who Todd Duffy is. So in the UFC, I don't think many people know Ruslan Magomedov. Has one of the best front leg kick. This guy's front leg, he just throws it out like a jab. Throw it to the head, body, or leg. He doesn't have a lot of punching power. That's one of his biggest problems, is he's not a powerful striker. I want to say Konstantin Arokin, maybe. But the problem is, this guy is a very prototypical heavyweight. Huge for the weight class, but just like tries to blitz his opponent in the first round. And if he can't pass the early storm, he's done. But in Bellator, a true like dark horse prospect, heavyweight prospect, Javi Ayala. Good wrestler, still in his mid-20s. Not that big for a weight class, even though he weighs in the 250s and 60s. He could probably stand to lose like 20 pounds and be a faster fighter. He's someone that's always actually impressed me. And he's someone that is not like a blue chip prospect, but is a solid heavyweight nonetheless that is constantly improving. Okay, and finally, this is a non-MMA related question, as Handmaker56 asks, what are some of the most interesting troll comments you've had? So yes, having a YouTube video show channel, it pretty much just invites troll comments. Should come as no surprise, obviously. See it all over YouTube. And I get a good amount of troll comments. Some more interesting ones. I can't really say anything verbatim, but there was one guy that just criticized me for whatever reason. But then I thought this was a bit ridiculous. He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, how come you don't put your picks down?" Like, I guess it was like in the description or something like that. But if you read the description, it says the whole card with my picks are, and there's usually a name highlighted. That's my pick, and it's like, I don't know if he just didn't pick up on that or something. It's really odd. I thought that was really bizarre. I remember there's this one guy. He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, if you really want to prove yourself, you should get in the ring," or something like that. Or something to that nature, instead of doing these shows or something like that to prove myself or something like that. And I know I said something that more or less just fed the troll, And then he goes and like, this is kind of sad and pathetic to me, but this is like, I can't imagine he was that old or something, but he goes on like multiple videos of mine and starts just putting like blatant troll comments on various videos. It's like, wow, trolls. It's a weird thing. It's like, wow, it's kind of sad, and I kind of wonder about the ages of some of these people. I mean, I understand why they do it, because it's like, you can insult me under anonymity, obviously, and not pay any type of repercussion, or consequence before doing it. But yeah, I just found it so pathetic, and it's like, wow, the people that do that, I mean, do they just have no lives? They're just really young? Because, to go on multiple, videos of mine and just put, derogatory comments about me, it's just really, it's just one of those wow things, I don't know why someone would do that. I've had racist comments pointed at me. It's said about me, which is kind of funny. I'm not Chinese, but people call me Gook. I'm not Chinese. But yeah, I always have racist comments pointed at me. This one, I get a lot too. It's people who criticize my voice or something about my facial expressions or something about my appearance that I can't do anything about. Oh, you have a funny nose. You talk in a certain way. It's one of those things that I'm not oblivious or anything. But it's not something I can actually do anything about. I can't just change my voice, or anything like that. So I always just found it kind of ridiculous, obviously. It's blatant insults or derogatory comments about me. I tend to just delete them. I remember one guy, speaking of insults, one guy's all he said something, I forgot what it was, and it was insulting, and the guy said, oh, but, knowing this guy, he probably can't take an insult. And it was I'm thinking in my head, it's okay, I'll delete this guy. But I'm thinking in my head, it's why should I have to take an insult? It's just stupid, So, yeah, a lot of troll comments I just tend to delete. May even go so far as ban the user, which doesn't really do much of anything, but, yeah, I get that a lot. I get a lot of comments that will disagree with me about picks and whatnot, and that's fine. I don't mind if people disagree with me. You can go in the comment section and see that I get a good amount of disagreements. For the most part, a lot of people, if they're respectful about it and not just you're stupid because you picked this guy, or want to say some sort of insult or derogatory comment to me. I don't know, one guy, it's haha, I got these good picks, you just suck, dude. It's what's the point of that? And my picks were still higher than 50%. Yeah, it was just one of those things where it's I don't understand it. I'm guessing that the ages of some of these people are, I'm assuming that they're just very young, are just people with no life. I assume. I just don't know. I guess if you want to go into some sort of meta commentary, obviously it's you give someone just a little bit of power and they will use and abuse it. It's okay, well, I can call people names and have no consequence bared upon me, therefore I will do it because I have the power to do so. Some people will take what little power they have and try and abuse it as much as they can. It's sad and pathetic and petty. I don't understand why people do it, but it's just a part of this society at this point. So that is my meta commentary on society, I suppose. But overall, for the most part though, honestly, most of the comments these days, very respectful. Pretty much everyone that I gave shoutouts to will be relatively respectful, or very respectful in their comments, They'll question my picks, but they won't say it in a very, insulting way. They'll just say, hey, why him, or him? It's okay, hey, that's fine. I'll explain it, you didn't insult me or anything, so that's fine. So yeah, but for the most part, most of the comments tend to be pretty good. And like I said, I actually see less troll comments lately, so that's kind of nice. And if there are comments, I tend to respond to a good amount of them when I can, to the best of my ability. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for this MMA Q&A. If you have any comments, just leave them below. Please don't let them be troll comments. I will most likely just delete them. I know it's kind of invited. This question kind of invited that, but let's hope for the best. And that's pretty much for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.